Can you give me a motion to Councillor Barfuss?
I'll move to reconvene.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. Let's go to 7A2, and Graham, you it.
Do we want to do the communication policy first? Or?
We voted on it.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
7A2, land use bylaw survey. The survey was to have a motion to approve the distribution of the survey as it is.
I'll move to approve the distribution of the survey as it's currently constituted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, question.
So,
I have one comment.
Okay.
One more suggestion that as we distribute the survey, I think it would be nice if they could put a link or a reference to the town website that the existing bylaw survey can be read on the town website, so that if people have questions, they can go back to the town website and actually read the existing land use bylaw as they're making comments on the survey. I think it would just be nice for them to know that that is there.
But the survey is to change a bylaw.
It is, but
It gives them the information of what the existing bylaw is.
Okay.
bylaw.
All right. Well, that shouldn't be too difficult to do.
No.
Jeff, regarding, we're discussing the land use bylaw survey.
Okay.
Councillor Creed is making a comment that it might be useful to write the town link of the present land use bylaw, since that is the one that we're trying to kind of amend somewhat.
Okay.
Just as a reference information.
Okay?
Easy.
So, all in favor? Thank you. 7A3, here you can see there is the letters that we requested administration to draft as a follow-up to the shared service meeting we had with the county. So I need a motion to approve that letter.
Okay.
Councillor,
I will move that we approve the letter to the county
okay,
regarding the shared services review.
and requesting a further meeting.
Yes, and requesting a
Thank you.
further meeting.
All in favor? Thank you. All right, 7A4, that letter, if you remember, is to thank Minister McQueen for the grant money we have to have Tyler as our intern and as a shared service with the county. So, it's for your information. Okay, I will sign that letter and we will sign it out. Okay, let's deal with 7B at this point, pool staffing. Now here, Jeff, if you go to the policy that regulates the employment of family members of a worker of the town or of council, Councillor Creed pointed out something quite interesting. The second part of your policy speaks of if you already had hired those people in the past, you do not need a motion of council to rehire. Are you satisfied with that? Okay.
Yeah, my gut reaction was we needed an amendment or a variance from the policy, but yeah, it's been dealt with.
Okay,
Okay.
so we will accept it the way it is and carry on with your hiring.
Okay.
I know we're short of staffing and we're happy to have sufficient for our needs this year, which is good. And good people, by the way. 7C, CAO bylaw, and a motion needed, but we will keep this one for after we finish our in-camera talking about the contract for CAO. So you will keep this for just after. We need to officially appoint our CAO by way of motion. Okay? But first of all, we need to make sure we approve this contract. Since tomorrow is the day, the official day, we need to really get that going. 7D, Audit Committee. Jeff, you might want to talk to a little bit of the issue we have with YPM regarding the presentation or lack of.
Since I prepared this, we have less of an issue, so I wanted to
Good.
speak to that. Schedules have changed a bit, that on the 28th of April,
Okay.
the partner from YPM is available to come to meet with the audit committee just before council, and then to present to council immediately after.
Perfect.
So
I like
we've been
that.
able to change since I prepared this, so.
Thank
The only
you.
thing we need to have in my audit, who's the audit committee again? Councillor Bengry?
Councillor Bengry,
Okay.
Councillor Edmonds.
Would you like to meet an hour before council meeting?
Would that be okay with you, two councillors?
So to come at 4 o'clock on the 28th? The information will be a little redundant for you at council meeting, but if you have any concerns prior, you can bring them up before the presentation.
Would that be okay? If one of you two cannot make it, let me know. I will be the ex officio sitting there. So if you cannot, let me know.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, we're doing good. Let's go to 7E, Committee in Bloom. Councillor Creed, you have something to report.
Yes, I do, and you should have a couple of papers. The one Tara just received, I think last night, was a request from the provincial communities in Bloom to declare
No, May.
I'm sorry, May, the first week in May.
4th through 10th. It says
May
May 11th.
4th through 10th, yeah. As
4th to 10th.
communities in bloom, just to draw attention to the goals of the communities in bloom and the work that communities in bloom does in the province, which is always for community support, for volunteers, and I think the council is aware of the work that communities in bloom does, and I felt that would be an appropriate thing for us to do if we're making resolutions to support the community. I think.
Okay, Councillor, do you want to have then a motion to proclaim a motion in support of communities in Bloom for their May 4th to May 10th? Or do you want to talk about the second aspect first?
Well, let's talk about the second aspect as
Okay,
well.
all right.
Which we discussed in our Communities in Bloom meeting. We always try to have a community cleanup, and this will be focused on the town. On the first Saturday in May, I've been contacted by the stakes. Rick Williams conducts work with Volker Steven to clean up the highways, and so we're trying to work around this so that we could have a cleanup week in town. We resolved that we would go with a week that the town does their cleanup, where the town basically sets aside that week for people to call in when they have other
That's the
things.
2nd of May?
The second week, which is the 11th to the 15th. The week the 11th to the 15th.
So it's not the first Saturday?
Not the first Saturday. We would like to set that as a community cleanup week, and we'd like to organize volunteer groups or service clubs to participate in that and clean up various areas in the community.
That's the 11th to the 15th.
The 11th to the 15th during that week, and that way they could select, any night, like if it's a young men's group, they could do it on their activity night, and that we work with the town for the town could supply the garbage bags. But we feel like together with these two, if we were to recognize communities in bloom the first week and then it would follow up with a cleanup week, we think that would reinforce each other. So I think those two go together quite nicely for the community. So I would like to.
So what exactly would you like to propose,
Okay.
Councillor?
You want me to make motions one at a
Please,
time?
go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, I think one at a time might work better.
So I think the first motion is that we use the proclamation, that we support the proclamation for Communities in Bloom Week for the May 4th through the May 10th, and you have that written with all of the whereases on that document. I think I gave Graham a copy of that paper over there.
Do you have it? Yeah.
So that we make that proclamation for the town.
All right. So any questions? We are members of the community in Bloom, by the way. Okay? So it supports our cause. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Okay, second one.
So the second motion that as you have on the other paper, that we designate May 11th through 15th as cleanup week, and authorize the Communities in Bloom Committee to organize that, to invite service clubs and service groups to participate and to help with the cleanup, and that the town would provide the garbage bags and the pickup, if they're requested by the phone, if they're called to.
Okay, hold on, you're making it a little bit complicated.
I'm sorry, okay.
Let's just read it as it says down here.
Sure, okay.
It's really simple.
That's fine, we could
Just
do
use
that.
it as a mayor's proclamation. Just have a mayor do a proclamation.
Proclamation of cleanup week that we.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's the motion. We'll designate May 11th to 15th as cleanup week
In Cardston.
in Cardston.
Okay. Councillor, Jeff, sorry.
In conjunction with that, we'll schedule where we go and pick up from yards. We'll start advertising, the people who call in and register their property for us to come pick up things as we do every
Okay.
year. So.
Right.
Jeff, I realize because the time is a little short at this point, we might need to do a little bit of advertising through all our medias.
Yeah, we'll hit it this
And
week.
we still have time to do that and be
Yeah.
efficient
Yep.
and effective.
Yeah, Graham and I talked about that yesterday. We'll get things, we have most everything we did from last year. The ads we ran and everything that was mocked up, we can get that back up pretty
Okay,
quick.
all right, so that's great.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Councillor Creed. So we have a motion there on the table. All in favor? Thank you. I really think it's a very beautiful time of the year. If the weather is cooperating, our towns really look so clean after that town effort. I think in years to come, we should really start to look at a way to celebrate that community getting together, but that might be for next year, where we can do a little bit of a community recognition for their efforts.
Councillor Creed, you also mentioned that maybe we should contact the Blood Tribe, particularly Moses Lake officials,
Yeah, that was
and
it.
see if they would like to coordinate a cleanup of Moses Lake with our
That was
town
a
cleanup.
suggestion that we'd like to do a town cleanup, but we could
I think so already.
contact them and say, we're doing a cleanup, would you like to do one?
You know something, if you talk to Brother Williams, Rick Williams,
Mhm.
if I remember right, he already mentioned that he spoke with the Blood Tribe.
Mhm.
So I think there's something going on there.
That would be great, because.
Maybe you want to talk with them, I think that's already,
I can talk with
I
them.
think that's already in
They're
place.
mainly highway cleanup, but
Yeah,
anyway, that
Yeah.
would be a good thing, so.
so that's good. Thank you so much for all that. On the 8th, you have the financial report for February. Jeff, I have a question for you.
Okay, let's hope I can answer it.
Well, it's just a question regarding the taxes receivables.
Okay?
If you look at last year and this year, we have quite
Twice as much.
a big discrepancy there. I know we had taxes in arrear. Are we truly double the amount in arrears from last year? I know that
Yeah.
55,000 is probably in that 100,000. Probably is.
Yeah, we have a number, so this was in.
February.
So since then, we would have had, I want to say there was 8 or 10 properties that have since paid.
Okay, well,
Since
that's
February,
good.
we had a number of them that have come in recently.
Okay.
Okay.
March 31st was the deadline before there was caveats placed on properties.
Right,
And so I would suggest that a lot of these have been cleaned up since then.
okay. I'm glad to hear
Yeah.
that, because when I see that amount skyrocketing, I'm starting to say some people are miserably hurting in this town.
Well, just so you know too, there was one multiple property owner that was a big chunk of that.
Okay, all
They
right.
cleared everything up, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so that would take it down dramatically.
I have one more question for you. Land held for resale in Yasset has increased by $80,000.
Yeah, this
Can you
one
help me
here.
understand that?
I have a bit of a breakdown here, so let me just see if I can. This one doesn't break down the specific properties. I can ask Hawken to get that breakdown. I'm just trying to think what we would have taken on.
I know we've
Corner
taken
property.
on one piece of property on the west side that could not, we had one deal, I know that.
So we had the one up by the Outpost
Yes, that's
Motel,
right.
we took that on. We got the rest of the EJ, we had a chunk of the EJ Woodlot that came through
Oh,
as well. that
Okay,
was still under the property.
yes,
We had a couple
yes.
little pieces that.
Okay, all right,
come in.
I get you, I get
Yeah.
you. Okay, and the note receivables, I would imagine within that note, there is still the $100,000 that we were speaking of a while back regarding the...
The letter of credit?
Yes,
Yeah, the bulk of that is that group, yes.
so it is still in there. Okay, thank you. All right, do you need a motion to approve that financial report? Councillor Barfuss?
I'll move to approve the financial report.
Thank you. All in favor? Thank you. All right, under 9, committee and other report, you have the bylaw animal report. Any questions regarding that report? You can see there's a little bit more detail from, as we requested. So that's definitely more informative at this point.
It looks like everything's been resolved. For
Yes.
the most part there.
We have
That's
the
good.
market surveillance report. That is something that requires a motion. And somebody would like to do that motion? Councillor
I
Quinn?
will move that we approve the market surveillance report.
As
What
given.
is, yeah.
Mhm. All in favor? Oh,
Councillor.
Councillor Barfuss, Bengry, did you have a question regarding
No, go
that?
ahead and make this, and then I've got a question to ask.
Okay,
Regarding,
The peace officer report.
Oh,
okay.
oh, do you want, we go back? Okay, please, go ahead.
You got a motion on the.
We have a motion.
I didn't-
Let's deal with
Okay,
this. Let's
yeah,
do this.
let's
Yeah.
go. All in favor? Okay, so let's go back to 9A.
When was Lloyd designated peace officer and not a bylaw control officer?
I do not know, that will be
Years.
for administration to inform us.
I don't know the exact date, Councillor, it's been a long time.
So he is actually a peace officer?
Yeah, he's a CPO,
Okay.
yeah. But I'm guessing 5 years.
Okay,
So-
Councillor Bengry, you
No, the
have
reason-
something else in your mind,
The
can you
reason
let
why
us
I-
know?
The reason why I asked that, then he can
Can write it.
get into the CPIC system for the RCMP
No.
as a designated peace officer?
No, that's,
Yes.
But he
The
can get
problem-
into an information system that they have, which is secondary to the CPIC system.
all I know is that it's a source of contention that he cannot find information, particularly on vehicles anymore, since the RCMP changed their permissions. He does not have access to it,
And he also has the authority to write tickets now,
not for moving violations.
but any static violation he
Which
can
we've been
write.
doing for some time, yeah.
Okay, and who do we use as a lawyer?
Well, when it's gone to court, I can't remember the name of the firm now. There's a firm in Lethbridge we pulled in before. I remember the lawyer, but I don't remember their firm.
Who's the lawyer?
Spencer Ash.
Okay, Councillor, do you want to carry on having that discussion with administration if you need to?
No, I'm just wondering if he's a peace officer designation, we should be looking at the parking violations a lot more critical, you know, at the post office, on Main Street, where they're crossing solid lines looking for
That's a moving
It's a
violation.
moving
it's a
violation.
movable violation until they stop. and then it becomes a static
But
violation.
once I'm stopped, I'm
Once
already
they're
there.
parked properly, they're parked properly,
Yeah.
nothing you can do.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll go wild.
No, I
Councillor, I
want to
hear
hear where
you.
you're coming from
No,
here.
that's all right, let's just move on.
Councillor Bengry has a point that makes sense, but here is the issue. Unless there are CMPs in town to catch those people who do not respect the fact that there is a solid line, and you can pretend that solid line is a wall, therefore you do not make a U-turn. If citizens in that town don't want to follow the law, when the RCMP is there, they get caught and they pay an awful fine and then they complain. But we need to follow the law, there's no doubt in my mind.
So a U-turn is a moving violation.
Yes,
Correct.
it is.
Your vehicle's moving.
Oh, sure, I realize that, but
So, all what you can do is influence people around you to follow the law. That's why we have a law. Okay, under item 11, correspondence. There are many letters under the CAT bylaw, but as Jeff said, quite appropriately, Albert Schindler has distanced himself for all those people that wrote those nasty letters that were received by Mr. Schindler upon being emailed by Jeff, to try to figure out if those were from his group or from some other group. Mr. Schindler absolutely distanced himself and does not recognize any of those as being part of the group. So I appreciate the letters written that are proactive, giving us good information, giving us literature that help us better understand how to deal with that bylaw. So that's all what I will say. Regarding 11B, Alberta Victims Week awareness, that is something that is an awareness week for victims of crime. In many towns across Alberta, there is a society that support victims of crime, and they do great work. 11C, Alberta Municipal Affairs, just a letter to give us
Minister's Awards.
the Minister's Award, yes, for excellence in municipal affairs. Alberta Fire Chief Association, 11E, City of Lethbridge, 11F, Alberta Environment Sustainable Resource Development. Any question regarding any of those letters? Jeff?
I may just mention, Your Worship, for clarification on the Alberta environment, we knew, they sent us notice that we didn't get this grant last fall.
Yeah.
But what happened is we prepared everything to submit again for the end of March, but they've extended the deadline out to September. So
Okay.
we'll submit again for that, but they were just letting us know they were still looking for a couple of pieces in our last year's application.
Okay, so it's a work in progress then.
I'd like to back up to the fire chief's letter.
Okay.
The finding in there that shows that many of the fire departments serving populations under 5,000 have a lack of volunteers, and I know we are one of those communities. We do have a lack of volunteers, and they're recruiting, and I'm just wondering what we can do to help assist our fire department in recruitment and getting qualified, or getting people that are willing to go and volunteer and become qualified to be firefighters.
I know that they are in contact with the high school. For members in the community, we could possibly, Jeff, possibly put this letter in on the website,
Page.
possibly. as a recruitment piece?
Yeah, that, we're anticipating they were going to be, sorry if I'm on there, they were going to be sending out specific advertising for
It
the week.
seems to me that's what I intended to do.
So there should be some, oh, Graham already has it, so yeah, we'll push that out there, is what we can do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if we,
Yeah.
good point, Councillor, thank you. Okay, and that brings us to the end of this meeting.
Well, I hate to tell you, but it's 20 after 6.
We're doing great, by 6:30 we'll be done.
Well, I don't know about that.
Okay, do you need to recess for 5 minutes, councillors?
No.
Okay, yes, you told me, no? Okay, so I need